I enjoy being present.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Just give me the confirmation in chat so that we can start. Okay, so just I'm sharing my screen. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen. So I hope you all can see the screen. Okay, let's activate our environment. Conda activate square fetch. Now let's open the notebook. Okay. Okay. Is my voice clear to you now? Okay. Can you hear me? I've just till now activated the environment and opened my Jupyter notebook. Okay. So after Jupyter notebook, as in the previous class, I have given you explanation that what is our CNN model, how CNN model is built to classify images. Okay. How we can classify that images in different class or different categories, how we can divide images in different class and categories. So today we are going to do a practical of that CNN model, a practical example of that CNN model, and in today's class we'll try to classify two things. Okay, so we'll be having we'll passing some images in our model, and we'll try to classify whether that image is of dog or of cat. Okay, so it's a binary class classification. After this today's class, I will also provide you assignment in which, with the help of dataset you have already created, okay, the phase dataset which you have created, which you have already used in PCA. You have to use that dataset to classify images. Okay, you have to use that particular dataset to classify images. Okay, so this I've all after activating your environment, the environment which you have created in the last class, the name of the environment was RGU. If you have RG environment, you can activate RG environment, or any other environment if you have created, you can activate that. Okay, just check the TensorFlow version and the class when available in you. If you should be having any TensorFlow version or class version which is greater than 2. Okay, 2.x. Okay, 2.x is acceptable to us, and if any version which is below than 2.x, if you have any version which is below than 2.x, then it's not acceptable to us. Okay, okay, then it's not acceptable. Okay, then it's not acceptable to us. Okay, because why I'm saying that version 2.x is important, because below version 2, the Keras and TensorFlow both are different modules. Okay, Keras and TensorFlow both are different models, and we have to import both Keras and TensorFlow. You can see here we are importing just TensorFlow here, and we already have both. We are getting both by default because Keras and TensorFlow both have been mixed after TensorFlow version 2. So that's why we are working with any of the environment which has TensorFlow greater than 2. Okay. So this is all the dependents. Okay, this is all the dependents I'm going to install. Like in case of your machine learning algorithm, you import a lot of things like test train split and different machine learning algorithms from your scikit-learn library. So here I'm importing all these things from my Keras library. Like sequential. Sequential is basically a thing in which I'm going to create a sequence. Okay, in which I'm going to assign a sequence, because as you all know that in CNN we always have a sequence where from the image we apply certain number of kernels, and from kernels we'll get a output. Okay, output matrix. After getting this output matrix, we'll flatten this output matrix, and after getting this flattened data, we'll pass it through a neural network. Okay, this is what we do. This is what we do. Okay, so this is the sequence, and we are going to initialize that sequence so that all our images, because we cannot pass all the images at once. Okay, so we'll initialize a sequence so that all our images can will follow the same sequence. Okay, all our images will follow the same sequence one by one. Okay, so that all our images can follow the same sequence one by one, and here we'll get the output. Okay, so I've already told you what is sequence. Then we are doing this convolution. You all know convolution. What is convolution? Then this is max pooling. This is flattening, the operation, flattening operation we are going to perform. And then the last is dense. Dense is basically defined to create hidden layers inside the neural network. So as you can see that I'm getting this hidden layer. Okay, so dense is basically important to create hidden layers. So number of hidden layers you want to create, you can create. Okay, if you want to use 10 hidden layers, 20 hidden layers, 30 hidden layers, you can create it. Okay, moving further, this is just installation of Keras. If you have to do this if any Keras error comes to you. Okay, after running these two lines of code, if any error comes to you, like of Keras, then you have to perform this particular step. If the error does not come, you does not need to perform this particular steps. Okay, I'm just printing the Keras version. You can see that I'm just installing the older version also. Okay, I'm just installing the older version also, but still my current version is 2.4. Okay, I'm just installing for performing all the steps because the project I developed was on Keras version 2.3. So just for security, I'm installing one of the older version also, but the current version which I'm going to use is 2.4 only. Okay, the same libraries again. So because I have developed this project in different version of Keras, so I was not able to use this particular Keras library. So I was getting this some type of error. So to decrease, also to remove that error, I've imported them from TensorFlow again. Okay, I have imported all these things from the TensorFlow again. Okay, I imported all these things from the TensorFlow again. So you can see that TensorFlow.keras import sequential. then I'm into the 2D, that flattening, and then that function, and then max pooling. Okay, this was just a basic import. You have to just copy and paste it and use it in each and every CNN model you are going to build. Okay, now let's start our building of a CNN model. Okay, so the first step in building a CNN model is to define the sequence. Okay, what is the sequence we are going to follow? Okay, I hope you all can hear me now and you are able to see the screen. Just give me the one confirmation. Just give me the quick confirmation that you all can see the screen. Yeah. Okay. So this is the sequential model. Okay. So I'm going to start a sequence, or I'm going to set up a sequence, and the setup sequence will be set up by the name of the variable name is classifier. Okay. So I'm saving that particular sequence in the classifier name variable. This is classifier, just the name of the variable. You can use any name, whatever you want. Okay. You can, if you want, you can use RGU. If you want, you can use anything. Okay. So inside the sequence, the first thing I'm adding is a convolution layer. Okay, the first thing I'm adding is a convolution layer. Okay, so the convolution layer will take input. Okay, it will take 32 inputs, or you can say it will provide 32 kernels. Okay, means we'll be able to detect 32 different types of shape. Okay, so we are providing 32 kernels of shape 3 cross 3. Okay, we are providing 32 kernels of shape 3 cross 3, and the input images. Okay, because the input image, all image have different x and y direction, or you can say different pixels. So we are just classifying the pixels so that all image have same amount of input, and we can get a same amount of output for each and every image. Okay, so that some image does not give us high amount of input, and some image give us very low amount of input. So for that purpose, I'm just classifying the shape of the image, that the input image we are going to take will be of 64 cross 64 pixel. Okay, 64 pixel and cross 64 pixel, and all the images are of colorful images. That's why I'm taking is 64 cross 64 cross 3. And the activation function. Okay, this is the activation function which I'm going to provide inside the kernel. Okay, this is the activation function which I'm going to provide inside the kernel of shape 3 cross 3. The activation function is value. Okay, the activation function is value. This is a kernel of shape 3 cross 3, and you all know that value. Okay, in value we have a graph something like this. Okay, this type of graph is of value. Okay, so it will give a positive number for each and every positive input, but it will give zero value for each and every negative input. Okay, and after doing this convolution, I'm just doing maximum pooling so as to reduce the dimensions, also so as to reduce the number of elements. Okay, so I have to reduce the number of elements. So I'm doing the maximum pooling, and the size of the maximum pooling kernel is 2 cross 2. Okay, the size of the maximum pooling kernel is 2 cross 2. Now I'm adding just only only single layer, convolution layer. If you want, you can add multiple convolution layer depending on your network requirement. Okay, so if you want, you can add multiple convolution layers depending on your network requirement. You can now add multiple convolution layer. You can add multiple maximum pooling layer, drop layer, dropout layer, or so on. Okay, so I'm adding just one convolution layer. If you want, you can add the second convolution here also. Okay, at this particular step. Then going further, after providing all the convolution layer, I have to connect that convolution layer to the neural network. But I know that the neural network takes input one by one. Okay, and with the help of 64 cross 64, if I'm providing one image at a single time, so I have to provide 64 cross 64 neurons in the first layer so that I can provide all the inputs from the first layer, or the matrix I'm able to get. Like suppose I'm able to get the same matrix after this convolution process. Okay, I'm able to get a matrix like suppose 60 cross 60. Okay, so if I'm getting a output of 60 cross 60, if I'm providing this same 60 cross 60 output, which means I'm providing this 3600 features, okay? I'm providing this 3600 features in the input layer, okay? So because I cannot provide all the 3600 features of all the images at the same time, that's why I'm doing the flattening operation, okay? That's why I'm doing the flattening operation, okay? So what this flattening operation will do is, this flattening operation will change my output matrix which I have received after convolution, the output matrix which I have received after convolution, it will change it into a one-dimensional array. Okay, it will change it into a one-dimensional array. Okay, now I have to connect it with a neural network. So for connection of neural network, I am using a hidden layer. Okay, and in that particular hidden layer, because this convolution will just select different type of shapes and sizes, but the guessing part, okay, where I have to decide, okay, where I have to decide whether this particular shape or this particular features belong to which category, that particular guessing part or that particular decision making part, okay, that particular decision making part will be done by only will be done by the neural network, okay, will only and only will be done by the neural network. So for neural network, I am creating a hidden layer, and the hidden layer will be having 128 neurons. Okay, the first hidden layer will be having a 128 neurons. Okay, and the activation function in that hidden layer I'm using is ReLU again. Okay, so I'm using the ReLU activation function in that hidden layers, and after the hidden layer I'm using just the output layer. Okay, I'm using just the output layer with only one neuron. Okay, so you can see here that I'm taking one neuron only. Why? Because I have only two outputs. Okay, so the single neuron is capable of giving me both the output. So if the single neuron is giving me any value, okay, it will give me value in probability percentage. So it's giving me value which is greater than 0.5. Okay, value which is greater than 0.5, I will consider it as 1, and if it is giving me value anything which is less than 0.5, I will consider it as 0, because I have only two classes. One denotes for cat and 0 denotes for dog, or 1 for dog or 0 for cat, so on, vice versa. Okay, so because I have only two class, I am just noting one neuron in the output. Suppose if I'm having 10 classes, so I will denote 10. Okay, I will denote 10 neurons in the output, or I can denote 9 also in the output. So if I'm having 10 classes in the output, I will denote 10 neurons. Okay. And for the output layer, I'm using the activation function which is known as sigmoid. The output layer, I'm using the activation function which is known as sigmoid activation function. Okay. Now for the backward propagation step, okay, the backward propagation, which means which will show me how my weight will be changes according to my loss. Okay, how my weight will change according to my loss. So for backward propagation, I'm using an optimizer known as Adam optimizer. This is one of the best optimizer if you don't have any much information for different types of optimizers, or if you are not able to decide which optimizer you should use, so you should first try with the Adam optimizer. If it's not giving you a good accuracy, then you can try different other optimizers also. Okay, this is one of the best optimizers in case of CNN networks. Okay, and I have to calculate loss also. So in case of loss, I'm using this binary cross entropy because I'm having only two classes. Okay, because I am having only two classes, I'm using this binary cross entropy. Okay, and the matrix is accuracy. So means and the output of this will give me accuracy. Okay, in the output I will get the accuracy results also. Binary cross entropy. Now suppose if I'm using 10 class, then I cannot use if I have output of 10 classes, and I cannot use binary cross entropy. I have to use different cross entropy process like sparse categorical cross entropy or categorical cross entropy, so that I can get different categories like dog, cat, mouse, rat, truck, car, elephant, this type of classes. So for that purpose, I have to use categorical or sparse categorical cross entropy. Okay. Okay. Now after getting this done, okay, my sequence is ready. Okay. So my if you want to see the whole complete sequence, you can see here. Okay. So the sequence, what I'm doing is I'm just adding a convolution layer. Then I'm doing the maximum pooling. I'm only taking one convolution layer, so I'm not adding a second or third convolution layer. Then after convolution, I'm doing this flattening operation. After flattening, I'm providing a hidden layer with 128 neurons. Then I'm providing an output layer, one single neuron. Then I'm passing the loss function, Banding cosine entropy, because I have only two categories, and the optimization, so that it can changes the weight of neurons, so that it can change the weight of neuron, so that we are able to make a good decision, okay, or we can increase the accuracy of decision making. Now, after my sequence is ready, okay, after my sequence is ready, what I have to do is I have to pass the dataset in it, okay, I have to pass the dataset in it, okay. So for passing the dataset, what I'm doing is, okay, I'm importing this pre-processing keras.preprocessing.image image data generator. Okay, so what this particular library will do is it will generate arrays from images. Okay, or you can say that it will convert images into array. Okay, we have already seen that how images is converted into array with the help of with our PCA class. Okay, with the help of NumPy, how we convert images into array. We have already seen that in our PCA class. So I'm using the same concept here also. I'm just converting the images into an array and I'm rescaling it with a value of 255, or you can say I'm dividing each and every value with the help of with the value of 255, so that I can get all the values. Okay, so all the values inside a pixel, okay, all the pixel values inside the image ranges from 0 to 1. Okay, and all the pixel values inside the images will ranging from 0 to 1. Okay, this is known as standard scaling. Okay, this is known as standard scaling. Okay, so if you want to do the flipping of images also, if you want to read each and every image by flipping it also, then you can make this false. Okay, if you want to zoom in an image, then you can make this true, or if you want, you don't need to write this features also, just you can rescale it and then provide it to train. Okay, train data generation. And the same way I'm just doing the test data generation. In test data generation also I'm doing the rescaling part. Okay, so what are the steps I have followed in the training part, I'll provide all the same steps in the testing part also, so that my test image and training image are similar. Okay, so that my test image and training images are similar, so that the model I have built with the help of training images is able to classify the test images. So if you I can show you the data set. Okay, if I can show you the data set. Okay, so this is my data set. Okay, so in the test class you can see I have two. Okay, so in the test class you can see I have two categories, cat and dog, and if I read this complete, so you can see that I have total of 1000 images. Okay, I have total of 1000 images. Okay, you can see I have total of 1000 files. Okay, so in the testing part I have 1000 files. So how many files do I have in the training file? So for training of each class, I have 5,000 files approximately. 4,000 files for training and 1,000 files for testing. Okay, so total for each category, I have 5,000 classes or 5,000 images. So for training part, I have 4,000 figures or 4,000 images, and for testing part, I have 1,000 images. Okay, this is how I have divided my test and train. Okay, this is how I have divided my test and train images. Okay, this is how I have divided my test and train images. Now you can see that in address, the address I'm providing here for training and testing. Okay, so if you can have a look at the address I'm providing here. Okay, the address I'm providing here is not the address of each particular image or any particular class. Okay, I'm providing the address of test set. Okay, in test set I have both the class straight cat and dog. Okay, I am providing the address of test set or training set. Okay, so in the training set I'm providing the address of training set, and in the test set I'm providing the address of test set. Okay, so I'm not providing any particular image, I'm providing the whole bunch of image. Okay, means I'm providing this 4,000 image at once, all the 4,000 image of one particular class at once. Okay, I'm not just for saving time, not I have not built this model with 120 images, I have built this model with this 4,000 images. Okay, okay, so you can see that found 8,000 images belonging to two class. So you have to put all the images in different folders, and it will automatically categorize these folders as class. Okay, it will automatically categorize these folders as class. Just keep in mind one thing when you are doing your assignment. Just keep in mind one thing where most of the students do this mistake is that if you are writing the name of the folders. Okay, in test set, if you're writing the name of the folder, is like cat and dog, write all the name in lower capital or write all the name in capital letters. Okay, write all the name in lower case or write all the name in uppercase. Okay, don't mix both the lower and uppercase, because our Python takes, or you can say Keras takes, the ASCII value of each and every category. Okay, the ASCII value of each and every name. Like it will be taking the ASCII value of cats, it will then it will be taking ASCII value of dogs, so as to determine the categories. Okay, so write all the names in either in lowercase or all the names either in uppercase. Okay, don't mix the name. So you can see here that in the training set I'm providing all the 8,000 images which are belonging to both the classes, 4,000 image of each class. Then in the test set I'm providing all the 2,000 images. Okay, 1,000 image of each class. Okay, now you can see here batch size. Okay, batch size. So what this batch size is basically, what this batch size is basically. So the batch size is nothing. Okay. So the batch size is nothing but how much values do you want to provide in one single step. Okay, how much value from that array, because we have seen that if our output array is of 60 cross 60, we are having a 3,600 values. So if you want, you can provide all the 3,600 values at one single go, or if you want your system to run properly, because this 3,600 values will create a hell lot of data. Okay, this 3,600 values will be creating hell lot of data. So we don't provide all this 3,600 values at once. We provide a certain amount of values. Like in first, this I'm taking this batch size as 32. So I will be providing this 32 values. Okay, 32 values at once only. Okay, I'll be providing this 32 values at once. Like in 32 values, will be having one row or two row and a half row. So I'll be providing only 32 values at once, and I will be repeating this 32 value, 32 value, 32 value for steps per epoch. Okay, So for how many times I want to repeat this? Okay, for how many times do I want to repeat this value? Okay, for how many times do I want to repeat this 32 values will be known as steps per epoch. Okay, how many times do you want to repeat this 32 values? Okay, so this step per epoch, okay, this steps per epoch, if I may write here, is this step per epoch will be like you have a length of training data is 8,000, and if you divide this 8,000 by 32, okay, so you'll be getting a value which is equal to 250. Okay, so the minimum steps per epoch is 250. Okay, you can provide any steps per epoch which is less than 250. Okay, this is the maximum value which you can provide. Okay, so this is the maximum value which you can provide. Okay, this steps per epoch is basically 250. This is the maximum epoch or the maximum steps or the maximum batch size you can provide. Okay, so the batch size is 32 value. Okay, so we are repeating this 32 values for 250 times. So it will for 250 times it will completely send all the 8 data. Okay, it will completely send all the 8 data. Okay, this is steps per epoch. And one more thing which we have is epochs. Okay, so this epoch is for how many times you want to send this complete 8,000 images. Okay, for how many times you want to send this complete 8,000 images. Okay, so if in machine learning we always use our data for once only. Okay, but in deep learning, or you can say in CNN, we use the same data, or if we use the same image multiple amount of time, so as to get a better accuracy. Okay, so as to get a better accuracy, so here this epoch means how many times you are going to use your complete training set. Okay, for how many times you're going to use this complete training set again and again. Okay, so for how many times you're going to use this complete training set again and again. Okay, so if you want to provide this value, you can provide this value, or if you don't want to provide this value, you can leave this steps per epoch value. Okay, in the same way we have this, you can see now that I'm using, I have generated our training and testing data. I'm fitting that data. Okay, as we do in that machine algorithm, I'm fitting that data. Okay, so I'm fitting the data with the training set. Okay, I'm fitting the data with the training set I have you generated. Okay, and I'm not providing the steps per epoch. You can provide any steps per epoch you if you whatever you want. Okay, now I'm providing the step size 10, means I will be repeating that 8,000 images 10 different times. Okay, I will be repeating that 8,000 images 10 different times. Or you can see I will be repeating this 250 epochs. Okay, I will be repeating this 250 epochs 10 different times. Okay, these 250 epochs will be transmitting this 8,000 images. Okay, so how many times you are going to steps per epoch? How many times you are going to complete the user steps per epoch? So I'm using this 250 epochs for 10 different times. Okay, now I'm going to validate if I'm going to get a good accuracy or not. How I'm going to check my accuracy? So I'm going to check my accuracy with the help of test set. Okay, I'm going to check my accuracy with the help of test set. Okay, and this is the validation step, that after how much values I should check my accuracy. Okay, I can check my accuracy after each and every step, or I can check my accuracy after 10 steps or 20 steps, or you can say that I can check my accuracy after 10 batch or 20 batch or 30 batch. Okay, so if I may write here, this validation steps steps is how many, after how much values you want to check this accuracy. Okay, after how much values you want to check your accuracy. If you want to check your accuracy after each and every value, or if you want to check your accuracy after 10 values, 20 values, or so on. Okay, so this is how I'm fitting my model. Okay, so this fit process will take amount of your time. Okay, this fit process will take a very huge amount of time depending on your system requirement or system capacity. Okay, this fit process will take a large amount of time depending on the system capacity. Okay, if your RAM is low, then it will take more time. If your system does not have any type of SSD, then it will again take more time. Okay, so it will take a large amount of time. But you can see that our data set is quite small. We are using only 10,000 images. So for 10,000 images, it will take higher amount of time. Okay, so in the industry, when we work with 1 lakh images or 2 lakh images, you can think of that how much time it's going to take. Okay, some models take us even 4 to 8 hours to run. Okay, and we run it for almost 100 to 200 epochs. Okay, here I'm running for 10 epochs only, so as to save our time I'm just running for 10 epochs only. So you can see that each epoch is taking approximately 40 seconds to 70 seconds. Okay, so each epoch is taking almost approximately 1 minute. Okay, so 10 epochs means 10 minutes I have to wait. Okay, so if I'm running for 200 epochs, then I have to wait for 200 minutes. If I'm running for 1000 epochs, then I have to wait for 1000 minutes for my model to completely run. Okay, and you can see that after completion of each and every epoch. Okay, after completion of each and every epoch, it will give me training accuracy and testing accuracy. Okay, this validation this accuracy is of training data. Okay, this accuracy is of training data. Okay, the first accuracy is of training data, and you can say that validation accuracy, this validation accuracy means this accuracy is of testing data. So you can see that in the first epoch I have getting a training accuracy of 80%, and I am getting a validation accuracy of 74%. Okay, this accuracy will keep on increasing and decreasing multiple times during these epochs. Okay, this accuracy will keep on increasing and decreasing multiple times during these epochs. Okay, so in this 10 epochs, from 74.3, the validation accuracy will increase from 74.3. Okay, 74.3, it has increased to 76.15. Okay, so we have seen in 10 epochs we have seen a 2% increase in the accuracy. Okay, in 10 epochs we have seen a 2% increase in the accuracy. If you want to see a higher increase in accuracy, if you want to see a higher increase in accuracy, you can run it for 100 epochs or 1000 epochs also. Okay, you can run it for 100 or 1000 epochs also. Okay, if you want to see a higher accuracy. Now, if we have now, this is how our model has been generated. Okay, after generation, we have created our model. Okay, and this model will be having a, okay, if you want to save this model and if you want to use this model in any other system, you can save this model also. So I have saved this model with cnn underscore dog underscore cat dot h5. Okay, this with this name I have saved this particular model. If you want to check your system, you can check it. Okay, you can check it in your here. You will say this h5 file. Okay, you can see this h5 file, it will be created. Okay, this h5 file will be created. Okay, so this h5 file, what this h5 file will store is this h5 file will store the format of your model, the CNN model which you have created, and it will also store all the values of kernel. Okay, all the kernel values, like because we have seen that in this we have created 32 kernels, or you can say we have created 32 kernels of 3 cross 3, which was giving us all the shape and samples or sizes present. Okay, it was creating, we were in the first step we have generated 32 kernels which will be responsible for detecting all type of shapes and sizes. So it will be giving us the kernel value of all the 32 kernels also. It will be giving us the values of the all the 32 kernels also. Okay. So all the things or all the information of this CNN has been stored in this H5 file. H5 is the extension of this CNN model. Okay. Or you can say any deep learning model. H5 is the extension of any deep learning model. And if you want to visualize this H5 file, you can use a software known as Neutron. Okay, you can use a software which is known as Neutron to have a complete visualization of this H5 file. Okay, now suppose I don't want to visualize. Okay, okay, if I don't want to visualize, what I have to do is I have made my model. Now what I have to do is I have to do the predictions. Okay, so to do the predictions, I have not passed that same data set. Okay, I am passing values from different data set. Okay, or you can say I am passing values from future data set, the future values which I'm going to get. Okay, so I have saved some more values of dog and cat. Okay, so apart from this data set which I have already used, I have some saved some more values of dog and cat. Okay, and I will be using these particular values. Okay, and I will be using these particular values or these particular images to check whether my model has got the predictions right or not, whether my model is able to get the predictions right or not. I've already know that my model has an accuracy of 76%. Okay, so it can give me some wrong predictions also. It can give me some wrong predictions also. So I'm just importing that same the important libraries again. I'm just importing the important libraries again, like image to array, because I have to convert this images to array again before passing it to the model, because my model is being generated with the help of array values, not the actual images. Okay, I have to load the model. For loading model, I have to just import a library again, and I am importing this numpy, so I can work on the arrays. Okay, so you can see that I am passing a different address. Okay, for trading and testing, I was providing a different address. Now for testing, for making predictions, I am providing a different address so that I can give such values which are not used for training and testing, so that I can give such values which have been not used for training and testing. Okay, so you can see I'm providing a cat image here. The cat image, I'm converting this image to 64 cross 64 because I've created my all a model keeping in mind that the image size is 64 cross 64. So I'm also converting this particular images which I'm using for prediction into a 64 cross 64 matrix. Okay, then I'm loading the image, or you can say that I'm converting that image into an array. Then with the help of this command, I'm just flattening this image. Okay, I'm flattening the image and changing the dimension to a four-dimensional array. Okay, changing it to a four-dimensional array because the model or the prediction which I have created, or the model which I have created, is has created a four-dimensional model. Okay, four-dimensional model. So I'm just creating a, or just changing the dimension of this image. Okay, now I'm loading my model which I have saved earlier. Okay, and I'm using this model to predict. Okay, so you can see the result equals to model dot predict test image. Okay, so I'm passing that particular image here. You can see that I'm putting one particular image. Okay, I'm passing here in one particular image, cat 400.1.jpg. Okay, you have to write the extension also. Okay, that which type of file you are using. So I'm just passing cat 401.jpg to test that if my model is able to classify that or not. Okay, so if the result, okay, if the value of the result is 1, okay, because why 1? Because I was firstly providing, you can see in the training set. Okay, if I'm able to see, uh, yeah, so if you can see in the training set, the first category was cat. Okay, so it will give me one value for cat only. Okay, so the first category was cat. It will give me one value for cat only and zero value for dog. So you can see that. Okay, you can see that here. So if I'm getting value, the value of result is equals to 1. So now my output is cat, and if my value is anything apart from 1, if I'm getting a value which is not equal to 1, then my prediction will be dog. Okay, so if I'm getting a value which is equal to 1, my prediction is cat, and if I'm getting a value which is not equal to 1, my prediction is dog. Okay, here I'm not setting the level. Okay, like 0.5, I'm keeping it default. Okay, whatever the default level is, it will work on that level only. Okay, so if I'm getting value equals to 1, and then I'm saying that it's cat, and if I'm getting value equals to anything apart from 1, then I'm saying that this is dog. Okay, so I've just passed this cat image. Now I'm checking my same model with the dog image also. Okay, so when I'm providing a dog image, doing the same process, you can see that my prediction is dog. Okay, not cat. Okay, you can see that my prediction is dog, not cat. Okay, so this is all the complete CNN model which you have to create or which you have to work on. So keep in mind that before using this CNN model, you activate your environment. Okay, you activate your environment with TensorFlow value 2.x. Okay, you activate your environment with TensorFlow value 2.x. Okay, is this thing clear to you all, guys? I will send you this file, PDF file. Okay, but I will not send you the dataset. Okay, you have to create the dataset on your own, or you have to use the dataset which you have already used. Okay, you have to use the same dataset which you have created in PCA. Okay, you have to use the same dataset which you have created for PCA in this particular CNN model, and you have to do a multi-class classification. Okay, you are not going to classify only two classes. You have to do a multi-class classification. Okay, you have to do a multi-class classification, and apart from that, I will also be providing you one dataset which will be consisting of 100 images, 10 images, I think 10 or 20 images of each classes. Okay, 10 or 20 images of each classes, which you have also to use and have to generate a CNN model. Okay, so if you are generating a multi-class classification model, don't only use one convolution layer, you can use multiple convolution layer also, and you can use multiple dense layer also. Don't just use one single convolution layer or one single dense layer. Use multiple convolution layer and multiple dense layer so as to get a better accuracy. And you'll see that your accuracy is always greater than 99%. Okay, you'll get an accuracy which is always greater than 99%. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
So if you have any doubt, yes.
Sir, is there any particular simulation kind of website where we can find our parameters, uh, different sigmoid function or like any other thing?
Here, this is the official website of Keras. Okay, you will be able to find all the, you can see all the possible losses function, all the different types of loss, all the different types of uh, sigmoid function, all the different types of activation function, all the different types of optimizers. Okay, so you can see if you want to check all the optimizers, you can check all the optimizers present. Okay, all the optimizers you can present. Okay, this is the official website of Keras. I'm just giving the link in the chat. Okay, and if you want to check more further examples, okay, if you want to check more examples based on different types of CNN model or based on different types of neural network, okay, if you want to check further different types of classes or different types of example, you can use this particular website. Okay, you can use this particular website. So if I'm typing CNN here, you can see that I will be getting different types of CNN model based on different types of data set. Okay, so you can check for particular data set. Like if I want to check for dog cat, okay, if I want to check for dog cat CNN, so you can see you will be getting different models. Okay, all people have generated their own CNN model based on Dogcat dataset. Okay, so this is the official website which we as a data scientist use. Okay, like you use your Instagram or you use your Facebook and all. This is the official website which we use as a programmer or as a data scientist. Okay, because this particular website will be holding or will be hosting all the different types of dataset also, and all the different types of models also, whether it's your machine learning models or whether it's your CNN models or deep learning model or neural network models. Okay, so you can check for any type of dataset whatever you want. Okay, you can filter it out based on the dataset you like. If you like CNN model, you can use CNN CSV file, JSON file. Okay, if you want regression, you can use regression dataset. Okay, so all the documentation is available on this particular website, and it also helps competition frequently. So if you are confident about your knowledge, you can participate in different competitions, and you can earn different types of prize monies also. Okay, so these prize monies are, you see that there's prize money in dollars also. Some competitions are with for knowledge only. Some competitions are for certifications only. Okay, so you, in this particular place you'll be competing. Okay, you will be competing with the world. Okay, you will be competing with the world, all data scientists available in the world, or all the aspiring data scientists, I should say. Okay, so all the aspiring data scientists which are available inside the world, you will be competing with them at this particular place. I've also given this link in the chat. Okay, from you where you can get all the models. Okay, now moving further, we have to discuss one more network. Okay, which is known as recurrent neural network, or LSTM, long short term memory. Okay, long short term memory. Okay, so I think all of you have used Google. Okay, so see, whenever I'm passing everything, anything, okay, like this support I'm passing hello, so Google is giving me recommendations to what are the things which are available. Okay, if I'm writing any text document in on my Gmail also. Okay, if I'm passing any text document inside my Gmail. Okay, so you can see that different types of recommendation is given to you. Okay, so based on what Google is able to give me recommendation, based on the first word or based on a sentence which I have written it previously. Okay, based on a sentence which I have written it previously, based on that particular sentence, the Google is able to give me recommendation. Okay, Google is able to give me recommendation. Okay, so because we have already know that each and every neural network we have created does not have any memory. Okay, each and every neural network does not have any memory. Okay, so because our neural network does not have any memory, nor the CNN model does have any type of memory, so how we are going to save the past information? Okay, how we are going to save the past information? And to save that particular past information, we have created a model known as recurrent neural network. Okay, so what this recurrent neural network will be doing is, so you can see from the image. Okay, so you can see from the image that this is particular. So this is your base environment. Okay, you can see that how your normal neural network is created into a, okay, how your normal neural network is created into a recurrent neural network model. Okay, so all the input layers are denoted by this X symbol, all the hidden layers are denoted by this S symbol, and all the output layers, output neurons are denoted by with this Y symbol, and the output of the H, or the output of the hidden layer, is given back to the hidden layer itself. Okay, we form a loop. Okay, so that we can store the previous information, or we can store the previous output we have given. Okay, so it forms basically a loop, so that it can store the previous information, or you can say a previous value or the previous output it has given, so that we can make a decision based on the previous information also, so that we are able to make decision based on the previous information also. Okay, so you can see it is storing. You see, this is your, okay, this is your recurrent neural network, and if you divide it based on particular times, okay, if you divide it based on particular times, like YT is the time which you have get out an output. So you can see that all the previous output are also stored, and the next output you are going to give, the output which you are going to give in future, will be also stored in your future epochs. Okay, will be also stored in your future epochs, or will be also used in your future model. Okay, okay. So XT is basically the current state, new state. We have already stored the output of the future, the output which we are getting in from the future time t minus 1. We are also using that particular output in our current state, and the current state, the output which the current state is giving, we are also using that output as an input for our next particular model, or for our next future model. Okay, so there are many types of recurrent neural network, like one to one, one to many. Means one to one means you are putting one input and you are getting one output. Okay, one to many means you are putting one input and giving many output, many to many, and so on. Okay, so the main problem with this neural recurrent neural network is that the backward propagation, the weight which we get in the backward propagation, is quite small. Okay, the weight which we are getting in backward propagation is quite small. Okay, or it goes on decreasing one by one, because in backward propagation, as we all know, that we are finding the gradient descent, or we are doing the differential. Okay, so after a certain limit of differentiation, the value becomes so much small that we are not able to learn anymore. Okay, that we are not able to learn anymore. Okay, loss of information throughout time, backward propagation, so we are not able to learn anymore. So for that purpose, we have developed, or we have done modification based on this recurrent neural network, which is known as long term short memory network. Okay, the modifications which I have done in recurrent neural network RNN, is known as long short term memory network. Okay, so if, let's see from the example. So suppose I want to pick the last word in the text. Okay, the word is the clouds are in the, okay, so most probably the answer is yes, but we don't need, okay, we don't know need any further context to predict the last word. Okay, so in this case, this particular sentence is enough to give the output. But let's take another step, or another example. So the next example is, I had been staying in Spain for last 10 years. I can speak fluent. Okay, after some time the sentence is like, I can speak fluent. Okay, so now this, the output here in this case should be Spanish. Okay, the word which we want to predict should be Spanish. Okay, Spanish is the most suitable answer here. But for that case, we have to remember the previous sentence also. That the previous sentence was, I was living in Spain for past 10 years. Okay, I was living in Spain for past 10 years. So this sentence we should remember. So for that purpose, we are going to use this LSTM model, which is capable of remembering the old sentence or the old information which we are going to use in future. Okay, so this is how all the auto text prediction or auto text correction algorithms, auto text correction model work. Like you can see auto text correction in Google, in Gmail, in Grammarly, or you can think of anything like image captionization. Like if you give an image to a computer, the computer will tell that what is happening inside this image. That this image consists of a rabbit, this image consists of two girls, this image consists of children playing basketball, this image consists of children playing badminton. The captionization of this image, or to provide the caption, or provide the labeling that this image is of cat, dog, or so on. Okay, can also be done with the help of this LSTM network. Okay, can also be done with the help of this LSTM network. Okay. So this is a basic recurrent neural network in which we have the previous information. But in case of LSTM network, we have some this type of configuration. Okay, so here we take sigma values. Okay, so sigma value will denote whether the previous information is useful to us or not. Okay, so whether the previous information is useful to us in the future or not. So if the information is not useful, it will discard the information, and if information is useful, it will store that information or proceed it further. Okay, it will, if the information is useful, it will use the information and proceed it further to the input at this particular layer is so also. Okay, if the information is useful, it will proceed that information and will pass that information to the next step also. So you can see here, decide how much past data it should remember. Okay, this is the first step of LSTM. It will decide how much past data it should remember. Okay, then the second step. Okay, second step is decide how much this unit add to the current state. Okay, how much of this past data is adding to the current state. Okay, this past data is adding to the current state or not, or this will be used in much more future. Okay, with the help of sigmoid function. Okay, here we'll again be using the sigmoid function or the 10x function. And the third is decide what part of the current state makes it into the output. Okay, okay, so it will decide that which part of the current state will make in the output. Okay, the previous information, okay, which how much part of the previous information and how much part of the current information will make into the output, and that output will be used by our next state. Okay, that output will be used by our next state or time t equals to t plus 1. Okay, so at time t will decide that how much information from the current state and how much information from the previous state is used to pass in as an output, which will be used as an input in time t plus 1 state. Okay, in time t plus 1 state. So here, if you can see the example, you can see John plays tremendously well against the opponent and won for his team. For his contribution, Brave was awarded player of the match. Now, if you want to fill in the blanks, okay, if you want to fill in the blanks, what should be the appropriate word which we should fill after Brave? Okay, okay, what should be the word? Okay, so here there could be multiple choices for the empty spaces. Okay, so the input Brave is an adjective. Okay, so it will check that the brave is an adjective, and adjective describes a noun. Okay, so here the brave is describing a noun, and the noun in our sentence is basically John. Okay, so the output should be John. So for his contribution, brave John was awarded player of the match. Okay, because the adjective always describes a noun, so it will be, the output will be like the brave John was awarded player of the match. Okay, this is how an LSTM work. I will also give you this data set, or I'll also providing you this document file. You go through it, and in the next class, we'll discuss about your end projects, and we'll do one example of this LSTM. Okay, we'll do one example of this LSTM also. Okay, we'll do one example of this LSTM also. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay, we'll continue it further in the next class, and the timing for next class will be the same as we have in general. Okay, so it will be starting from 11:30. Okay, we will be using our older time. Okay, and if you have any problem, we can save the timing earlier in the day. Okay, because after that I have continuous batch, like I have batch from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. Okay, 6 to 7 was empty. Now again I'm having a batch from 7 to 8. Okay, okay then, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. Please do the assignments. Okay, most of the students have not submitted the assignment for class number 16 and 17, or 17 basically, 17, 18. In any of the class, I have given another assignment. In class 17 or 18, I have given another assignment. So please do submit that particular assignment also. Okay. Thank you, everyone.